back to another video of mine. My name is Kay, also known as Khalif. You can call me Khalif or Miss Starks if you're nasty. But welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I wanted to pop up, let y'all know how I've been. I don't think I've put anything out since my Beyonce Renaissance album review. But in September, I caught the Rona. In October, for this month, I've been focusing on my new job and my audio podcast. So I've been still dropping podcast episodes, although I've kind of slowed down with the YouTube, but I'm back. So if you have returned, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for checking me out. I'm sorry if my hair look a little crazy, but I'm trying here. We're here and we're present. So I wanted to chat about Angie Martinez in Real Life podcast. She did an amazing episode with Ashanti. Now, fun fact about me, I really love R&B music, specifically female R&B. That's kind of where my heart sits. R&B soul, right? I like male artists too, but R&B and soul is like my first love. I also love hip hop. I love rap. I like pop. I like electronic. I like house. I like a little bit of everything. I think the only genre I'm a little weak in is probably country, but but I really, really like music, and there are certain artists that I always gravitate to because they probably remind me of my childhood, or I probably grew up with them and so forth. And one of them in particular, well, before I say her name, I already said her name in the beginning, but I'm not like a stan. I feel like I've grown out of that. I think in high school I was a stan. I don't want to tell my age, child. But in high school, sorry for my bro, y'all. In high school, I was probably more of a stan for these like artists and celebrities, but I am not a stan anymore. If I really like an artist, it's because I genuinely feel connected to their music and probably something that they've done in their career. I'm aware that I don't know these people personally, right? This is just for entertainment purposes, and this is strictly commentary, right? So with that being said, as y'all know, me stepping into this commentary thing in a more of a visual way, because I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this for a long time, but only on audio, But yeah, anywho, if you all have not gotten to see Angie Martinez's In Real Life podcast with Ashanti, check it out. If you all have been under a rock or have not really been following what's been going on, Ashanti is a very, very well-known R&B singer, R&B pop, more so R&B, who got her start at the age of 14 with her first record deal, but she didn't actually reach mainstream success until her first album back in '01, and that particular album, I believe it was self-titled, and the lead single was Foolish, and we all know Foolish, everybody knows Happy. Yep, it was self-titled. How could I forget? See, I didn't fully forget it is self-titled. But I think that Foolish record was so big, people thought the album name was Foolish, but it's self-titled Ashanti. Anywho, Ashanti, broke big in '01. She broke big. '02. But I think her first single came out in '01 because I was like 7 at the time. I'm telling my age. Damn it, man. But yeah, anyways, we love Ashanti, so she had a very successful career, in the beginning, right? She still has a career, like she still has her hit records, she's still doing her thing. But in the beginning, like most artists, when they break super, super big. And Ashanti definitely was one of those black women in the early 2000s who introduced this sort of like new millennium or this new contemporary-ish R&B. That kind of pulled from the 90s R&B, but brought something new with that more R&B hip hop, flavor up in there for my Caucasian audience. But no, I've like grew up on her. Like I remember how big she was back then, and I wanted her album so badly because I would see her all over 106 and Park. And I would see her, all over BET and MTV TRL, and she really grew big after we lost Aaliyah, you know what I mean? So I'm a fan of pretty much all the ladies, by the way. I'm not a stan. I genuinely like see the talent in each one of them, and I just really, really admire and love their music. Anywho, reached success from '02, like 2001 to probably about 2004, 2005, 2006-ish. where she had a really, really good run, where she was dropping albums, getting number ones. She was featured like everywhere. She has some hits with Ja Rule and Fat Joe, and, she was songwriting, and she was definitely doing her thing. And, at the same time around when, Beyonce was going solo and Sierra popped up, and, so there were all these different talents at the time. Of particularly Black women, right, who were out, during the early 2000s. Sorry, I'm a little sleepy, y'all. Anywho, in the podcast episode, Ashanti addressed what we all, know has been going on if you haven't go research it, but Irv Gotti, who, he was running Murder Inc. at that time, he's been going on this like press run where he has just been disrespecting Ashanti, stating how they slept together. And, he went on ahead and did a Murder Inc. documentary with BET, right? And in that documentary, everyone loves Ashanti, right? Like, Ashanti was by far one of their biggest artists at that time. So people love Ashanti, right? And you know how men are. And of course, Ashanti is also a sex symbol in a way as well, right? She's beautiful as all can be. She's, ultra feminine and just a gorgeous woman and beautiful as hell. And you know how men are in those spaces with women. They want to test you if you look good and say that they hit and say all those things, right? So Irv Gotti, he's just been going on this rampage actually for the last few years. I just think in 2022 it got even more worse because he flat out just said that they used to deal with each other. And I also believe he said that last year as well, but he was just saying how him and Ashanti had, their situation going on romantically. And not even romantically, because she made it clear in the Angie Martinez interview that they did not have a relationship, right? She was just stating how she dealt with him. So with all that being said, Irv Gotti has just been going on this rampage of tarnishing Ashanti's name and her brand, and just basically painting her to look like she is just some thing that you pass around. Very misogynistic, very sexualizing her and just totally like disrespecting her as a woman and as an entertainer, right? Now, we all know what people say about women in hip hop and how R&B singers and even female rappers and things like that are always, first of all, it's a dominated male space. So this is a constant conversation, within hip hop and in R&B culture where the top women and even women who are not at the top, it's always this energy of who did you sleep with to get here, or if you're sleeping with this one, this is how you got your opportunities, right? And what's interesting is that in the beginning of him saying all those things and alluding to it, Ashanti remained quiet, and she always handled things with class. She always handled things in a way of, sorry, I'm trying to look at the camera here. And I'm trying to look at my lashes too. I'm a mess. She always handled things with class and in a way of, hey, we rocked. We were killing the charts. We were on top of the world when we did our thing. Why are you coming at me? And Irv Gotti's just been on this thing of like punking her, saying how he slept with her, saying how she didn't hold him or Murder Inc. down when they were dealing with the indictment situation with the label. If you don't know what occurred, go do your research. But Murder Inc. basically crumbled, due to some legal issues, etc. That, involved the label and Irv being indicted, right? I'm sorry, Irv being indicted. So there's a lot of like business things going on and some shady stuff going on behind the scenes with that particular label and with Irv, right? And it affected Ashanti's career. So he started off in the beginning just saying how she really wasn't down. And then it morphed into him saying, oh, well, we slept together, right? And he's been kind of picking at her, not even just this year, but he's been picking at her for about he's been doing this since like 2015, where he's just been kind of going in on her for like remaining quiet and just not wanting to talk about the negative things. She just wanted to move forward. Long story short, I was so excited because I remember yesterday I got on my IG page. And if you don't follow me, check me out. My Instagram is Khalif Now. That's KALEEFNOW. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Same handle. I got on Twitter and I saw Angie Martinez post about this Ashanti interview, and I was like, finally, we get her side of it, because she's been kind of skating around it. She's always handled things with a very Ashanti is very private. Ashanti is very tight-lipped. Ashanti is very classy. And she handles things like a lady, like a G. Like her femininity is she does it in a way where she's very like, you know? And she's like, honey, y'all can say what y'all want to say, but where the bag at? Like, y'all can say what y'all want to say. But I think after a while of her being kind of poked at by Irv Gotti, not kind of, she was poked at tremendously and sort of humiliated in a way. Actually, not sort of, she was humiliated in a way. She finally got her chance to speak up. So that's that. The interview was amazing. Ashanti was very calculated and very particular about what she was saying, but she still gave you the real. And I was actually gagged because she basically said how Irv Gotti is just a flat out liar about them having a full fledged relationship. She made it clear that they were never boyfriend and girlfriend. But I was gagged because she actually admitted that they had a situation. And she stated how at that time she was 21 and she was young, and it was a situation in which they dealt with each other. And what I noticed is how she didn't run from it. She was very like transparent about it, but she was like, yeah, we dealt with each other, but she was like, you have to remember where I was at that time. He was a man of power. And she was just like, I was young, and I didn't know that he was married. And this is what she said in the interview. This is not alleged. She said this in the interview. She was just saying, paraphrasing, I didn't know that he was even married because he had several women at that time, and she was saying how she felt pressured. She felt pressured as well, because it was a situation of like, if I don't continue to do this, we're not going to record this music. This will affect my dreams, and he is the top one. He has my career in his hands. And she also stated how that situation really put her in a very negative space, and how she's just focused on being at a higher vibration and moving on, and how she's reached out to Irv over the years, literally texting him a white flag emoji and asking him to chill, and always trying to keep the peace. But now it's to the point where she just has to speak her piece because he won't stop, right? And she also stated how Irv became jealous of her dating Nelly, because her and Nelly had like a 9-10 year relationship that none of us knew about until like years after they broke up. And yeah, she was saying how Irv would send death threats to Nelly and so forth and things like that. And it was a very good interview, and I felt like she was very transparent, but she still did it with class, and she made it a point to just operate in love and at a high vibration, and also in a way of like, you're gonna respect me. And her and Angie also talked about how it was difficult for her being a woman at that time period, being a woman in hip hop, being around all these dudes in the studio. They're saying all the horrible things about women that men tend to say about women, and even these days you still see a lot of those conversations with where we are with women now. Women make more money, women are at a higher level, women are speaking up more, women are having more spaces to speak up more and talk and actually have these conversations, and kind of push the needle forward for women, right? And she was just stating how she feels that Irv has mental health issues. She feels that he, wishes her death, because of how much he hates her, and how he just makes it a point to be so hateful because he doesn't have control over her anymore, right? Great interview, Ashanti. Excellent interview. I thought it was dope, and honestly, I'm just happy that she had the ability to speak with someone like an Angie Martinez, who is well respected and who runs that circle in New York, and who does her thing, and also to just see both of them relate on the fact of being women in the industry and how that plays out, and how you could go back and like there were times, even Angie said it, she was like, there'd be times where I'd be hanging out with the fellas back in the day, and I'm the only girl and they're saying all this horrible stuff about women, and I could play, I could deal with it. But then it comes to a point, and Angie also said even with her maturing, she was saying, it comes to a point where it's like, don't talk to me like that, chill with that because, you're disrespecting me as a woman, you know what I mean? And I think oftentimes in those spaces, like what we see now, I think we forget how we still have a lot of work to do when it comes to misogyny, when it comes to these different spaces, whether you're in the 9 to 5 or whether you're in the industry or music world or fashion world or wherever you are. um that particular the field kind of grooms people sometimes, right? And you always hear about situations like this. And Ashanti's mom even made it a point to say, Irv took advantage of her, and Ashanti tries to kind of like not say that, but her mom made it a point to say that literally during the interview. And it was great. I just feel that Ashanti finally had the opportunity to address what's been going on, because he's been running around saying how she was sleeping with him and how she knew that he was married. And then the wife came out last year, I believe, in the past like 3 years. The wife came out and was like, yeah, Ashanti basically, broke up me and Irv and she caused issues. So the wife is coming out saying that. And, and Ashanti's just been sitting back, and if you really pay attention to it, it has been like a situation, like when I looked at just past interviews of Ashanti and Irv, it has been repeated jabs where it's like, oh, you really feel some type of way about this woman? Like, bruh, like she's, what, if you did it, you did it. If not, she admitted that they did something. She alluded to that. She was like, we dealt with each other. We were never together, but it was a situation. And she was like, now he's taking it somewhere else. And she was just saying how he has issues. He's very unhappy and he probably has some mental health things going on. I'm happy that she spoke up for herself. I know I'm rambling, but I'm really happy that she finally had the space to speak up for herself, with someone like an Angie. So I enjoyed that particular interview. Go check it out though. Go check it out. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I am missing in that? Um, I think the point of it is outside of me not just being a supporter of her. It's just, I just think that when it comes to Black women in those spaces, it's important to understand what's going on and understand what's going on behind the scenes, and understand that when I say behind the scenes, there's certain politics that occur where when it comes to industry work, people have to just sort of get in where they fit in, and it's about survival too. It's about having opportunities and making it to a certain point, and you not always having the leverage like a Irv Gotti to go against a Irv Gotti, right? So while you may be the talent, you got to be careful sometimes, because some people can blackball you. And she even spoke about how she got blackballed by him and how he was not letting her record in the studio because she didn't want to sleep with him no more, right? And she just didn't want to deal with him. He would like block her from having access to studio time, producers. He would tell other producers not to work with her. And he would also say horrible things to her. As I wrap up this video, he would say things to her such as, I made you effable, right? I don't want to get, I'm not even monetized on YouTube yet, but he would say things to Ashanti like, I made you F-wordable, right? To men, this is why, dudes wanted to smash you, because I made you that way. I made your career and I made you that way. And he would also tell her, nobody F's with you. You're not going to be able to get tracks. You're not going to be able to get beats. No one really, rocks with you like you think you do. So he would say things to tear her down and keep control over her, right? And she was saying for a moment it worked. There was a moment where she was afraid to put out stuff and she was trying to figure it out, and she was kind of lost, and but she started doing Broadway, and she started trying to do other things like acting and things like that to deal with the music, because the music industry became very negative for her. And if y'all pay attention, she did go away for about a good 4 years. She just kind of went away, and I'm talking about 4 years after her last like mainstream successful album. When I say mainstream, I mean as far as album sales go as well, which is Concrete Rose, and that came out in I think 04 or 05. But she was saying how she kind of just went away, and it became very toxic at that time, and She was just trying to find her way. But anywho, check out the interview. Angie Martinez is doing a really, really good job. I also loved the interview she did with Mary J. Blige. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a music girl. I love my music, and especially the R&B ladies, you know, so, and R&B and soul and things like that. Anywho, check it out if you like. I hope that you all enjoy my feedback and my commentary, you know, on that particular interview. And it was dope stuff. So check it out. And thank you for tuning in to another video of mine's. And yeah, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Khalif Now. That's Kaleef NOW. So Khalif Now. That's my Instagram and my Twitter. And check out my podcast, The Perfect Blend Podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Republic. It's available on 9 different platforms. Make sure to check out my podcast. Literally, go on your phone, type in The Perfect Blend, Khalif Starks. You'll be able to find it there. I'll probably link it at the bottom here as well. So thank you for coming back. And yeah, I hope you like this. Like, share, subscribe, support me if you're feeling it. Leave a comment about other things you want me to chat about. All right, y'all take care.